So how do you know when a product idea is a good one, and how do you determine that, and how do you know when it's time to bail out? It's an interesting question, and I think that there isn't really a one-size-fits-all. I think that certainly many of the examples I've seen, there's a founder and an entrepreneur who's solving a problem that they have. So what's interesting about that is that you might have the problem, but it doesn't necessarily mean that other people do, or that they're willing to pay for a solution to that. So that's sort of one thing to keep in mind. Thanks.
I don't fight that one.
Just keep going. Okay. So if it's a problem that you actually have, and you're inventing a solution for yourself, that's very common. We hear that a lot with technology companies. Chances are probably there are other people that have that problem too. And so the first thing that you need to do before you go and build your grand solution is to go and find out if there are people out there that have this problem. Those are really the lean startup techniques. The techniques from Steve Blank's book and Eric Ries's material all deal with the question of how do you get out of the building and go find prospective customers before you've even started building anything. So that's sort of one school of thought, is this sort of solution to a problem that you have. But there's also another school of thought which I think is equally interesting, is that entrepreneurship, and particularly in product development, they're very energetic, creative, passionate sort of activities. And it's definitely possible that the right chemistry in a group of people will find really good problems to solve. So what's interesting is when I see people starting companies and they get their, friends together, or a killer team of people that they just wanted to work with forever, it's like, Tim and I have been at lots of different companies and we've known each other forever, but we've never really had that chance to work together, but we know it's going to be great. And then we finally have an opportunity to actually build something together. We may not even know what our first problem that we're going to tackle is, but if you have the right chemistry, you can really approach lots of different areas. So it's interesting because I think that the genesis of many successful companies isn't necessarily a specific problem or solution, but more taking a pool of talent and looking around for appropriate problems in the world that a team of people would really handle and crush it with some great solution.
So how do you feel about innovation, actually coming up with different ideas?
Sure. Innovation is one of those really sort of elusive concepts, right? There's definitely a school of thought. There's a guy named David Snowden who's a cognitive scientist who talks a lot about complexity theory. And one of the things that he actually pushes organizations to do is to flirt with introducing little bits of chaos into their otherwise very structured company environments, because sort of controlled chaos can bring about innovations, right? Break a few eggs, kind of mix things up and see what emerges. So innovation is very much about being able to look at, have sort of lots of things floating around and let things happen and kind of watch where the value goes and sort of see what comes out. It's very exploratory, and it itself is a very creative process. So there's not really, I don't think there's really a formula for creating innovation, but it's definitely you can create environments with people and process, or I wouldn't say lack of process, but the right kinds of loose processes to encourage more innovation. Or when something innovative happens, you'll recognize it and be able to foster that and help scale it.